Hello, this is the Sideshow, and I'm Theodore Parker. And today is Wednesday, September the 7th, and the sun is out. Temperatures around 60 some degrees, promising to go up into the 70s. Still talking about the mask. Um, because of the holiday, the positivity rate for Kentucky didn't come out until Tuesday, and it was around 20%. And also in the news, it has been put to the public's attention that there are 7 additional new monkeypox cases in Louisville. So it's advised that you wear your mask if you're in this area and you're going out conducting business, shopping, whatnot, and have you. And also be aware of vaccines and shots that are available to combat monkeypox, although it has already been established as predominantly in a certain community with men who have recently had sex with men, but still it pays to err on the side of caution. Some of the top news stories today for Wednesday, the 7th of September. Leaked Oath Keeper list includes hundreds of police chiefs, elected officials, and members of the military. So this was something that was started in 2009, and it's kind of surprising in the sense that in January of 2021, you had January 6th insurrection. So I guess the motto of the Oath Keepers is to protect the Constitution and to defend the government against all comers, so to speak. And but to find out that so many people associated with that particular organization are involved in law enforcement and other positions of authority. And since the basis of their situation is anti-government movement and uses the tools of the internet to spread their message, especially during the Barack Obama presidency, then they're called for research into this. And so it has been disclosed, as I mentioned right off. And some of these people involved with the Oath Keepers have already been tracked down and prosecuted in regards to the January 6th events. So, the names of hundreds of U.S. law enforcement officers, elected officials, and military members appear on the leaked membership rolls of a far-right extremist group that's accused of playing a key role in the January 6, 2021 insurrection at the U.S. Capitol, according to release Wednesday. The Anti-Defamation League Center on Extremism poured over more than 38,000 names on leaked Oath Keepers membership list and identified more than 370 people it believes currently work in law enforcement agencies, including as police chiefs and sheriffs, and more than 100 people who are currently members of the military. It also identified more than 80 people who are running for or served in public office as of early August. The membership information was compiled into a database published by the Transparency Collective Distributed Denial of Secrets. The data raises fresh concerns about the presence of extremists in law enforcement and the military who are tasked with enforcing laws and protecting the U.S. It's especially problematic for public servants to be associated with extremists at a time when lies about the 2020 election are fueling threats of violence against the lawmakers and institutions. A lot of people, when questioned, said that they were early members, but just signed up, found out what it was about, and no longer associated themselves with it. Other people say they were involved but were not dues paying members. However, it can be interpreted. Appearing in the Oath Keepers database doesn't prove that a person was ever an active member of the group or shares its ideology. Some people on the list contacted Associated Press and said they were briefly members years ago and are no longer affiliated with the group. Some say they never were dues paying members. But at the bottom line, they have rolled into an anti-government group, and they are at this presently struggling to keep their membership. But the image of January 6th is fresh in the minds of American people. So, as it stands now, the Oath Keepers are being looked at by the government. The second thing, former Pentagon chiefs, top generals warn of extreme strain between the military and the public. A group of the nation's former defense secretaries and top generals warned of an exceptionally challenging relationship between the military and the general public following former President Trump's attempt to stay in power during the 2020 election. We are in an exceptionally challenging civil-military environment. Many of the factors that shape civil-military relationships have undergone extreme strain in recent years. Military officers swear an oath to support and defend the Constitution, not an oath of fealty to an individual or to an office. All civilians, whether they swear an oath or not, are likewise obligated to support and defend the Constitution as their highest duty, quote unquote. Trump, who is weighing another bid at the White House, regularly tried to leverage the military for his own aims, including sending troops to the southern border with Mexico and using them against racial justice demonstrations. Such efforts caused tension with the nation's top generals, and both Mateus and Esper were ultimately moved from their positions. Looking ahead, according to a letter that was sent out, all these factors get worse before they get better. In such an environment, it is helpful to review the core principles and best practices by which civilian and military professionals have conducted healthy American civil-military relations in the past and can continue to do so if vigilant and mindful. There was an article in here in regards to the Mar-a-Lago situation and the fact that the judge has ruled that they can have a special master to review the documents and subsequently see what's going on with these documents that Trump had at Mar-a-Lago. That being said, the DOJ will have to pause their investigation or their procedures. And although some people disagree with the judge's decision there in Florida, since there is, in a lot of instances, no precedent for the kind of stuff that Trump is coming out with or is in the middle of doing or involved with, and he's evoking his position as president as a justification or as his quote unquote right to conduct himself in a given manner that he chooses. But in allowing this special master to review the documents, especially those pertaining to attorney-client privileges, also borders on what classified documents are there. So it would stand to reason that that person would have to have a special clearance to look at top secret, secret, and confidential documents. So one thing leads to another. Interesting side comment or an article that is kind of classified as human interest. A woman in Michigan won a 5-figure check from a casino. And the woman, 71 years old, church-going woman, involved in same. No record that would lead to anyone to believe that she was involved in criminal activity. She took the $56,000 check a few months ago to Fifth Third, decided that the check was fraudulent and didn't want to return the check to her, decided to keep it. So she said she wasn't leaving without the check because it was a legitimate check issued by the casino. She called her son and he said, well, get the check back or call the casino and have them talk to the bank. So anyway, after, I guess, hours of haggling, threatening to call police, et cetera, several clerks, including management level, had refused to return the check, saying it was fraudulent, decided to give it back to her. So it's one of those questions, well, I never, in all my days, went through anything like this. But anyway, she took the check from Fifth Third Bank over to Chase. They accepted it, deposited it, and the check cleared the following day. So you tell me about it. The next one that I've been looking at in the news for the past couple of days is Tiffany Haddish and Aaron Spears accused of grooming young people. Now, I've read several different versions of this account. So it seems that they wanted to put together a comedy show. I guess Tiffany following behind Aries. And Tiffany's already doing, the latest version of Art Linklater's Back in the Day, Kids Say the Darndest Things. So I guess this is one of those instances because one or more children have spoken up and said that they felt uncomfortable about what's going on, the jokes and things of this nature. So some people are saying immediately arrest and prosecute Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears for this particular situation. As of yet, I don't think that has happened. But we'll keep an eye on it and see how it goes. Because I think they were inquiring of the children about their suggestions as to what would make comedy for this particular production and some of the input that they were getting from them. So we'll see. Well, that's not everything that's in the news, but it's some of the things that's in the news. Potential rail strike threatens to kneecap the U.S. economy ahead of midterms. So if that happens, then you'll see how transportation is interfered with. California is using a rolling blackout because temperatures in some places like Santa Rosa have been 112 degrees. So they're turning off the power for a couple of hours each day across the area. And seeing how that works for keeping it to be a complete blackout there in California. The other one that I saw was news commentator on Fox. Of course, Fox is always in the news. I'm not saying that that's anything unusual, but this lady had said something about the Trump election. This is all a couple of years ago. You know, it takes a little while for things to kind of go from the back office to the front office, and this is one of those particular situations. So the news commentator, she happens to be a black woman, was talking about Trump, the elections, and the election machines, and whether or not they had been programmed, and this and that. But in the process of her doing all this, it kind of like struck the people that represented the voting machine company and other parts of the electoral process wrong. So they want to take Fox News to court and sue them to the tune of $1.6 billion. Another name that you might be familiar with, Barra Trumo, that's also a female. She made a comment or two, but her name has not been rolled into the pot as of this point. But because this other commentator enjoys wine, then they kind of wanted to put her comments based on having too many glasses of wine before, during, and after the show. And they did have a picture of her Manhattan office, and there were boxes of wine stacked 3 high. So she kept her selection available. Critic comment says, don't blame it on the wine. It gets all of us through from time to time. Blame it on bad internet research. So there you have it. Some of the things, but not all the things, that's going on Wednesday, September 7th, 2022. This is a sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker. That's it. Hashtag.